Hello, attorney. So I'll be reporting Indigenous people's education. So the Philippines is a home to over 17 million indigenous peoples who make up 110 ethno-linguistic groups. They are consistently ranked among the poorest and most disadvantaged people in the world. Indigenous groups lack access to social services and economic and political opportunities. Children are more vulnerable to poverty and exclusion. They are unable to access public education. The indigenous people's experience of education are schools as a venue of discrimination, schooling as an experience of non-being, and discussion limited to surface culture. The impacts of mainstream school systems are alienation of indigenous youth from their own communities, heritage, culture, and history, misuse and abuse of cultural practices and denying indigenous knowledge systems and practices, graduates or school youth leaving the community or abusing the ancestral domain, continued marginalization of communities and dying spirit of their tribe. So here, the Department of Education has instituted National Indigenous Peoples Education program in pursuit of the National Indigenous Peoples Education Policy Framework based on DepEd Order Number 62, Series of 2011, entitled Adopting the National Indigenous Peoples Education Policy Framework and Republic Act Number 10533, or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. So here, the DepEd Order Number 62 of 2011, adopting the National Indigenous Peoples Education Policy Framework, states that in the line with the country's commitment to achieve its education for all target and Millennium Development Goals, and in pursuit for the basic education reform, the Department of Education is adopting the enclosed National Indigenous Peoples Education. So for here, it was prepared in consultation with the representatives of the from IPIS communities, civil society, and other government agencies. So number two, a framework is intended to be an instrument for promoting shared accountability, continuous dialogue, engagement, and partnership among government, IP communities, civil society, and other education stakeholders. So here, recognizing education as a necessary means to realize other human rights and fundamental freedoms. The DepEd urges the strengthening of its policy on IP education and development and implement an IP education program. So this program subscribes the rights-based approach, which gives primary importance to the principles of participation, inclusion, and empowerment. Third, many IP communities continue to lack access to decent basic social services. They have limited uh, opportunities to engage in the mainstream economy and suffer social, economic, and political exclusion marginalization. A major factor contributing to their disadvantaged position is the lack of access to culture response basic education. So thus, the right of indigenous peoples to education is provided in the 1987 Constitution, or the IPRA of 1997, and the numerous international human rights instruments, especially in the United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples. So next. So the DepEd Order 62 um states that the indigenous peoples remains to be among the most vulnerable and marginalized members of the citizenry. because many IP communities continue to lack access to decent basic social services. They have limited opportunities to engage in the mainstream economy and suffer social, economic, and political exclusion. So, among the current disadvantages that IPs face, access to culture-responsive basic education stands out as one of the most critical to address. Especially, is the right to basic education is viewed as enabling right. So basic education is essential means for IPs to claim their other rights, exercise self-determination, and expand the choices available to them. Third, IP's lack of access to education services is compounded by the fact that in areas where there are schools accessible to them, many of these have limited or no capacity to provide culturally appropriate education. This kind of education that removes barriers to their meaningful participation in the different levels and spheres of society and empowers them to exercise their rights and duties as Filipino citizens. So the desire of the IP communities for an education that is responsive to their context, respects their identities, and promotes the value of their traditional knowledge, skills, and other aspects of their cultural heritage. So fourth, effectively responding to the basic learning needs of IPs is a key measure in achieving the country's education for all and the Millennium Development Goals. So in line with the trust of the DepEd to pursue institutional and systemic reforms to improve the efficiency and quality of the delivery of basic education for all, IP education has been included as a reform item in the basic education sector reform agenda. So fifth, the framework is envisioned to be an instrument for promoting shared accountability, engagement, partnership among government, IP communities, and other education stakeholders. So what's the policy background? The policy background are first, the right of IPs to education is primarily enriched in the Philippine Constitution, the IPRA law in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of the IPs. So Article 14, Section 1 of the Philippine Constitution provides that the state shall protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality education at all levels and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all. Then Section 2, the state is further mandated to encourage indigenous learning system. Section 17, recognize, respect, and protect the rights of indigenous cultural communities to preserve and develop their cultures, traditions, and institutions. So RA 8371 of the 1997 or the IPRA Act mandates that the state to provide equal access to various cultural entities, scholarship, grants, and other incentives without prejudice to their rights to establish and control their educational systems and institutions by providing education in their own language in a manner appropriate to their cultural methods of teaching and learning. 2007 United Nations Declaration on the Rights of the IPs is among other international human rights laws contains specific provisions on IPs rights to education. So Article 14, paragraph 1 states that IPs have the right to establish and control their education systems and institutions, providing education in their own language in a manner appropriate to their cultural methods. Article 14, children have the right to all levels and forms of education of the state without discrimination. Furthermore, the state shall take effective measures, particularly children, to have access when possible to education. And DepEd has earlier issued DepEd Order 42 of series of 2004, which permits to operate primary schools for indigenous peoples and cultural communities. And the 1987 Constitution states that the state recognizes and promotes the rights of indigenous cultural communities within the framework of national unity and development. So, in view of the above constitutional mandates, concerned individuals and organizations started organizing primary schools for the indigenous peoples to alleviate their plight. So the DepEd intends to build on these existing policies and further strengthen the policy environment that would enable all these offices and units, especially those in the fourth line of service delivery, to effectively address realities on the ground. Consistent with the DepEd's mandate to provide inclusive basic education for all, it shall be the policy of the DepEd to maintain an education system that will recognize, protect, and promote the rights and welfare of the IPs, as well as equip them with the knowledge and skills needed to face various social realities and challenges. Towards the end, that the DepEd shall first ensure the provision of universal and equitable access of all IPs to quality and relevant basic education services towards functional literacy for all. Second, to adopt appropriate basic education, pedagogy, content, and assessment through the integration knowledge system and practices in all learning areas and processes, to provide adequate and culturally appropriate learning resources and environment to IP learners, strengthen strengthening hiring, development, and continuous development of teachers and learning facilitators in the implementation of the IP education program. Fifth, to establish and strengthen appropriate multi-level units with DepEd responsible for planning, implementing, and monitoring IP education inventions. Sixth, to expand and strengthen institutional and civil society linkages to ensure proper coordination, knowledge sharing, and sustainability of IP education program, and to implement stronger affirmative action to eradicate all forms of discrimination against IPs in the entire Philippine educational system. In October 8, 2021, the Department of Education is serving almost 2,529,000 IP learners in 42,176 public schools around the Philippines in the first decade of the Indigenous Peoples Education Program, according to the agency Indigenous Peoples Education Office. So, despite the extreme impact of pandemic to IP communities, the enrollment of IPK learners in public schools for school year 2020 to 2021 reached 98.49% of previous school year in January 2021 from 83% initial figures in September 2020. So here, DepEd Order 43, or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. Section 2 of the DepEd Order states the scope and application. The provisions of this IRR shall primarily apply to all public and private educational institutions and learning centers. This shall also apply to higher education institutions, technical vocational institutions, duly recognized organizations acting as teacher education institutions and foundations. The state shall establish maintain and support a complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the needs of the people, the country, and society at large. The state shall create a functional basic education system that will develop productive and responsible citizens equipped with the essential competencies, skills, and values for both lifelong learning and employment. In order to achieve this, the state shall first give every student an opportunity to receive quality education that is globally competitive based on a sound curriculum that is par with international standards. Second, broaden the goals of high school education for college preparation, such as vocational and technical career opportunities, as well as creative arts, sports, and entrepreneurial employment in a rapidly changing and increasing globalized environment. To make education learners oriented and responsive to the needs, cognitive, and cultural capacity, the circumstances and diversity of learners, schools, and communities through the appropriate language of teaching and learning, including the mother tongue and e-learning resources. So Section 3, the basic education, is intended to meet basic learning needs, which provides the foundation on which subsequent learning can be based. It encompasses kindergarten, elementary, and secondary education, as well as alternative learning systems for out-of-school learners and those with special needs. Section 5, basic education pursuant to Section 3 of the Act. Basic education is intended to meet basic learning needs, which provides the foundation on which subsequent learning can be based. It encompasses kindergarten, elementary, and secondary education, as well as alternative learning systems for out-of-school learners and those with special needs under Section 8 of the IRR. Section 6, the Enhanced Basic Education Program, for purposes of the IRR and pursuant to Section 4 of the Act, the Enhanced Basic Education Program encompasses at least 1 year of kindergarten education, 6 years of elementary education, and 6 years of secondary education in that sequence. So secondary education includes 4 years of junior high school and 2 years of senior high school education. The Enhanced Basic Education Program may likewise be delivered through the alternative learning system. Section 7, the compulsory basic education, where it shall be compulsory for every parent or guardian or other persons having custody of a child to enroll such child in basic education, respective learning of delivery modes and systems, until its completion as provided by existing laws, rules, and regulations. So Section 8, the inclusiveness of enhanced basic education. In furtherance of Section 3 of the Act, inclusiveness of enhanced basic education shall mean the implementation of programs designed to address the physical, intellectual, psychological, and cultural needs of learners. So, ayan. The Section 10, Basic Education Curriculum Development, where the standards and principles, the DepEd shall adhere to the following standards and principles when appropriate in developing the enhanced education curriculum. So first, the curriculum shall be learner-centered, inclusive, and developmentally appropriate. The curriculum shall be relevant, responsive, and research-based. It shall be gender and culture sensitive, shall be contextualized and global. It shall be used pedagogical approaches that are constructive, inquiry-based, reflective, collaborative, and integrative. It shall adhere to the principles and framework of mother tongue-based multilingual education, which starts from where the learners are and for what they already know proceeding from the known to be unknown. It shall use the spiral progression approach to ensure mastery of knowledge and skills after each level. And lastly, the curriculum shall be flexible enough to enable and allow schools to localize, indigenize, and enhance the same based on their respective educational and social context. Rule 3, the teacher qualifications, training, and continuing professional development. So, Section 12, teacher education and training, to ensure that the enhanced basic education program meets the demand for quality teachers and school leaders. So, Rule 5, career guidance and counseling advocacy. Section 17, career guidance and counseling programs, consistent with the Section 9 of the Act to properly guide the students towards becoming productive and contributing individuals through informed career choices. The DepEd, in coordination with the DOLE, TESDA, CHED, PRC, and NYC Industry Associations, Professional Association, and other relevant stakeholders shall pursue programs that expose students to the world and value of work and development, the capacity of career counselors and advocates to guide the students and equip them with the necessary skills and values. Section 20, the role of the DepEd. The DepEd shall integrate career concepts in the curriculum and undertake teaching in relevant learning areas, conduct career assessments, conduct regular career and advocacy activities, conduct continuous professionalization and capacity building of guidance counselors, career advocates, and peer facilitators. Develop or accredit training programs on career advocacy, establish a career advocacy unit and provide adequate office space in high schools, and designate guidance supervisors at the division level and career advocates at the school level. So here, I saw a documentary entitled Pangarap Ko'y Dinggin, a documentary on indigenous people's education. So, this documentary, uh, states the educational of Aita Ag-Antis in Kapas Tarlac. So, in this documentary, every day, going to school, students have to walk almost 5 hours just to go to their school located at the other mountain or there using their own man-made transportation dragged by a cow. This is their only way of transportation. And as stated earlier, the rights of the indigenous people to education are stipulated in the 1987 Constitution and the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act. So here, their teacher, Andrew Victoria, a teacher of Flora Primary School, stated that the teaching setting is way different from that of the city, where children can watch TV, listen to radio, use computers, while the IPs have nothing. So it would take 3 days to cover a single lesson in order for them to catch up with discussions. Further, DepEd also adopted Indigenous Peoples Education Curriculum Framework, which aims to provide guidance to schools as they engage in Indigenous communities in line with the K-12 curriculum. Given the fact that not all of them are able to afford the opportunity to go to school, the struggle of attaining up-to-date knowledge remains hindered. The policy framework basically articulates key policy statements on different aspects of education. Access, learning resources, and environment, and their teachers. It's a framework, not all answers are in there, but it provides key directions. According to the IPED curriculum, it includes recognizing and including the community's context that are indigenized and are related with the curriculum. Indigenized meaning, for example, if there is no instructional materials that can be used, the teacher will force to get, for example, a stone or anything that can be used from nature, or for example, from a nearby stream, and use them in their math class in order for the students to understand the lesson more. So aside from problems in their curriculum, contact hours of teachers with the students is another concern. Considering that the travel conditions, teachers would often shorten their contacts with their students. Um, and with it, state teachers would often shorten their hours of teaching with their students. So next, the curriculum has the goal to make the IP learners be familiarized with their daily lives, like to learn how to add, subtract, and learn and read in order for them not to be fooled or robbed by non-indigenous people. So next is the DepEd Order 32, or the Adopting the Indigenous Peoples Education Curriculum Framework, to further elaborate what I have stated a while ago about the documentary. The IPED curriculum framework was formulated based on inputs from a series of consultations conducted by the DepEd, the Indigenous Peoples Education Office, with community elders, leaders, and implementers of community-based IPED initiatives. So first is the historical context and process of framework formulation. Culturally rooted and responsive education has been and continues to be a major concern of the IPs in the country. While gaining around in the 1990s at the international level through the global movement for education for all. The IPEC communities have consistently shared with the DepEd the following key concerns that the department should address. First, the need to respect and recognize the indigenous knowledge system and practices, or the IKSPs, in school and learning programs. The elimination of discrimination from peers and teachers because of the learner's cultural identity. Next, the need for teachers serving in indigenous communities to be adequately oriented and trained so that indigenous cultures are appreciated and indigenous cultural practices and values are not discriminated. Next, the need to promote respect and due regards for the inherent meanings and purposes of indigenous cultural expressions, ensuring that learning programs promote among learners and affiliations and sense of indigenous cultural identity. This highlights the need for DepEd to systematically and comprehensively respond to the specific learning context of indigenous communities. Next is the policy context. The adoption of the IPED curriculum framework is in pursuit of the National IPED Policy Framework, which is anchored on the relevant provisions of the 1987 Constitution. So here are the relevant provisions. Article 14 states that on encouraging indigenous people system. Article 14, Section 17, recognizing, respecting, and promoting the rights of indigenous communities to preserve their culture, tradition, and institutions. So RA 8731, or the IPRA law, mandates the state to to provide equal access to various cultural opportunities, to indigenous cultural access to various cultural opportunities through the educational system without prejudice to their rights. Um, the UN Declaration on Rights of Indigenous Peoples states that they have the right to establish and control their educational system and institutions. It also states that it shall, in conjunction with indigenous peoples, take effective measures in order for indigenous individuals, particularly children, including those living outside their communities, to have access, when possible, to education. The intent of the IPED curriculum framework is aligned with RA 9155, or the Governance Basic Education of 2001. It states that to ensure that the values, needs, and aspirations of a school community are reflected in the program of education, and that schools and learning centers shall be empowered to make decisions on what is best for the learners. Within this policy context, the IPED curriculum framework seeks to fulfill the mandate to implement an enhanced basic education curriculum on that is a culture sensitive and responsive. So the key concepts are of the framework. First is their ancestral domain, that all area generally belongs to the um indigenous communities, comprising lands, inland waters, coastal areas, and natural resources therein, held under their ownership, occupied or possessed by the IPs themselves or through their ancestors, or individually since time immemorial, continuously to present, except there when interrupted. Next is their contextualization, educational process of relating the curriculum to a particular setting, situation or area of application to make competencies relevant, meaningful, and useful to all learners. The IPs are indigenous communities, a group of people or homogeneous societies identified by self-ascription and ascription by others, who have continuously lived as organized community on communally bounded and defined territory, sharing common binds of language, customs, tradition, and other distinctive cultural traits. Indigenous socio-cultural institutions, which includes intellectual, spiritual, and social dimensions of culture that are interlinked and practiced as one integral system. Fifth, the indigenous knowledge systems and practices. The systems, institutions, mechanisms, and technologies comprising a unique body of knowledge evolved through time that embody partners of relationship between and among people, their lands, and resource environment. The Indigenous Learning System, or ILS, the Indigenous Community System of educating succeeding generations of youth onto their community's cultural system, including the IKSPs. Culture bearers are the recognized elders in the community and are acknowledged repositories of their people's history, practices, beliefs, and knowledge systems. The IPED curriculum, appropriate basic education. Ninth, right-based approach development framework that highlights the recognition, promotion, and protection of rights as the basis for all development initiatives. Next is the philosophy. The K-12 basic education curriculum centers on the learners, uh, particularly on being and becoming a whole person equipped with 21st century skills for lifelong learning and leading to a productive and full life. To seeks to be inclusive. This is actualized through the implementation of programs that are meant to address the physical, intellectual, psychological, and cultural needs of the learners. For IP learners, the cultural dimension is of primary importance in making their education meaningful and relevant. Culture is the collective expression of the IP communities of their um, learning passes from one generation to another through their respective uh, communities. The DepEd recognizes the central importance of the indigenous people's knowledge for indigenous learners. This recognition in the basic education system has been institutionalized through the adoption of the National IPED policy, which states that the department shall give due recognition to and promote the sustainability and adopt appropriate basic education. Next is the key dimensions of the Indigenous Peoples Education Curriculum Framework. First is the foundation dynamics inherent to the IPED curriculum framework are foundational dynamics within which the elements of the IPED curriculum need to be understood to be effectively implemented. So this section discusses the foundational dynamics that need to permeate the implementation of the curriculum, community engage, and interface of their learning and the national education system. So first is the community engagement. To pursue culture-based education. Culture is the community dynamic, a community's way of life, continuously evolving as generation after generation responds to um, encount challenges encountered, needs that arise, and aspirations articulated by the community. So thus, through its network of public schools, learning centers, education, managers, teachers, dep ed efforts for its curriculum to be culture-based and contextualized will require interacting with this dynamic so that their culture becomes one foundational basis for curriculum development and school learning program management. Interface on indigenous learning systems and the national education system. The resulting IPED curriculum generated by the partnership and dialogue between the IPED and the indigenous communities will necessarily have to be formulated at the community level, given the different cultures and context of the indigenous peoples communities in the country, in line with the principles and standards of the K to 12 curriculum. So here is the points of interface between indigenous cultural communities and the PED on curriculum development. In here, we can see the indigenous learning systems, the indigenous knowledge systems and practices, and consent-giving processes. So stated also here is their points of interface, which states the recognition of the rights of indigenous peoples to their culture, to their indigenous knowledge system and learning, recognition of the right of indigenous peoples to participate in national development, And we can also see here the DepEd standpoint, which states there formal education or school system and alternative learning systems, their competencies specified in the curriculum, the government partnership with the civil society and private sector. So in here stated is the, as discussed a while ago, the Department of Order 62, or the policy framework for education. So what are the key elements of the indigenous people's education curriculum? So first is to the curriculum design, competencies, and content. So interfacing the national curriculum with the IKSPs and their indigenous learning, the design of a culturally appropriate and responsive curriculum has the following features. First, it anchors the learning context on the ancestral domain, the community's worldview, and its indigenous cultural institutions. So these anchors, or the states their ancestral domain is one of the defining features of the indigenous communities. It's valued not only as a source of daily subsistence, but also as manifestation of the intertwining of the community's cultural, social, and spiritual dimensions. Second, it includes and respects the community's expression of spiritually and part of the curriculum's context. So, which is rooted in the ancestral domain and expressed in their way of life and relationship, being integral to the community's life, the spiritual dimension in the learning and practice of the indigenous knowledge, and where it shall be included. And next, the affirms and strengthens indigenous cultural identity. Next, revitalizes, regenerates, strengthens, and enriches the IKPs and ILS and indigenous languages. Next, it emphasizes competencies that are needed to support the development and protection of the ancestral domain, the vitality of their culture, and the advances of indigenous peoples' rights and welfare. It supports the community's effort to discern new concepts that will contribute to the community's cultural integrity while enabling meaningful relations with the broader society. Second is the teaching technologies and strategies. The spiritual dimensions of teaching and learning IKSPs shall be recognized and included in planning learning activities, where it shall be the purview of the community and shall be planned with the community elders. B, it recognizes that the main transmitter of IKPS are the culture bearers and IKSP's holder who use appropriate methods and strategies in teaching this. They shall be active knowledge managers in the teaching learning process. Next, teaching methodologies and strategies inherent to their indigenous learning system of the community shall be given premium to ensure that the learning styles and processes are cultivated and nurtured. Third is their learning space and environment, uh, ensuring that sacred places are not violated and cultural norms are observed. So the teaching learning process should be designed to maximize the ancestral domain and the activities of the community as relevant venues and setting for learning in combination with classroom-based sessions. Fourth is their learning resources. Culturally generated learning resources are not limited to artifacts, stories, dances, songs, and the like. The language used shall be determined in dialogue with the community, cultural sensitive and protocols where consent seeking and validation is needed. So next, their classroom assessment. Community, in here, assessment shall be done utilizing tools appropriate to their standard, competencies, skills being covered, and the design and use shall be addressed the need and concerns of the community and shall be developed with their participation. So here, community-generated assessment processes that are part of the community's indigenous learning system shall be included in the range of assessment method and tools. The use of other assessment outside the community shall consider community values and culture before administration. And lastly, assessment process shall foster lifelong learning competencies that include preparation for community responsibilities through assessment, tools, exercises that give premium to the application of higher order thinking skills and integrated understanding. Fourth is the enabling effective curriculum implementation. So effectively implementing a culture-based and culturally responsive curriculum requires processes and mechanisms to ensure that educational goals and objectives are attained. These processes or mechanisms shall adhere to the rights-based approaches and the principles of inclusion, participation, and empowerment that guide the IPED program of the DepEd. So the following enabling mechanisms, processes, and interventions shall be pursued. Number one, the mechanisms for dialogue and partnership with indigenous communities at the school and division level shall be established, recognizing the rights of the IPs to chart their development directions and operationalize principles of participation and empowerment. Indigenous communities and DepEd through dialogue shall formulate the IPED framework. Second, the appropriate personnel from DepEd regional division offices shall be capacitated at the national level on curriculum indigenization and the production of an indigenized education resources. Third, capacity building of teachers and school heads shall be undertaken and coordinated at the regional and division levels to ensure effective curriculum implementation. Fourth, supervision shall be capacitated and appropriate supervision tools shall be developed. Fifth, culture-sensitive monitoring and evaluation. And sixth, linkages with groups involved in implementing IPED in the locality shall be established. So the implementation of the IPED curriculum here may benefit from the support if community-based IPED implementers and other institutions and society organizations. I also saw another documentary where in this documentary there uh there's a college that is designed for teachers who wants to teach or be teachers in a indigenous people's community. So the Pamulaan Center for Indigenous Peoples Education. So, ayun, Pamulaan is a college or different from is a college and different from other universities. Because students are from different indigenous tribes from around the Philippines. Their subjects are based on knowledge, needs, and cultural practices of the IPs. The college is situated at the University of Southern Eastern Philippines. And the development curriculums are supported by academics from the university. So courses are formally recognized and accredited as official bachelor's degree. Graduates are working around the Philippines for indigenous peoples' development, prosperity, and rights. So they have different courses offered by the students. So first is wait lang pala. Um, before I the the different courses, I would like to add that their courses were designed from discussions with uh their courses were designed from discussions with hundreds of indigenous elders and knowledge bearers. So all of them, the courses are identified by the indigenous elders as being essential areas to sustain a strong and effective movement for indigenous peoples' rights in the Philippines. So the first course is the teacher's training degree. This is the first course that was developed, uh, ensuring that dozens of qualified indigenous teachers are now teaching in indigenous schools. So the teacher's training degree, where they teach child and adolescent development, sociology of education, teaching principles, educational technology, where in educational technology they make institutional materials which they use for teaching the indigenous students. So, as part of the course at Pamulan, all students spend the 2 years volunteering in indigenous communities after their graduation. Um, they make sure that cultural values are being integrated where an IPs are enrooted on their core values of their own indigenous self, the values that have been left behind by their ancestors. So there's the law speaks of an education system that is consistent with the worldview of the indigenous peoples. Also, um, there's a government support, no, where the environment, the government builds schools for the indigenous communities. So the second offered the degree or course is the sustainable agriculture degree, where lessons are based on their traditional indigenous knowledge, where they offer a diverse integrated farming systems, ecology, soil science, water resource management, poultry and livestock production, vegetable and root crops, agroforestry, plant propagation, and seed production. So since agriculture is the backbone of the economy, both nationally and locally, uh, this course uh, is offered kasi this is important to the indigenous peoples community where they study useful technical and academic subjects including the ones that I've stated. So the next offered course is the social entrepreneurship degree. So in this course, they offer different kinds of uh techniques where the teachers or the indigenous community will learn different kinds of uh, business techniques teach the that they can teach to the and IP communities. So next is the examples of localization and indigenization of curriculum. So in first, the localization refers to the process of relating learning content specified in the curriculum to local information and materials in the learning community. So the process of localization focuses on the enhancement of curriculum content and is generally the same for all communities. So for example, translating a story specified in the teacher's guide to their locality language. Next is indigenization. So in here, yeah, indigenization refers to the process of enhancing curriculum, competencies, education resources, and teaching learning processes in relation to the biogeographical history and socio-cultural context of the learner's community. Indigenization may also involve the enhancement of curriculum framework, curriculum design, and learning standards of subject areas, guided by the standards and principles adhered to the national curriculum. So the process of indigenization is to be undertaken nationwide in both the formal education and alternative learning system or the ALS as a means of enhancing the various elements of national curriculum to make it more relevant and responsive to the learner's context. So here with general examples in enhancing the curriculum design. Example for the kindergarten. Um, More than half of the competencies of the kindergarten curriculum are not quarter or week specific to allow flexibility to enhance the design of the curriculum. So it is time flexible competencies that can be taught in relation to the annual or periodic livelihood activities of the community. Like here, the examples are stated below. So, um, example, in the first quarter, they have a planting season. So the children's chores is related to planting, which can be demonstrated in the example in their schoolyard and can serve as a starting point. They can also demonstrate, ayun, they make as much as possible easier for the students to in order for the students to understand it easily. They also the scheduling of competencies will also be guided by the learning standards and the needed scope and sequence of competencies. Also, um, their way of teaching is based on assumption that the community where the school is located is agricultural and children assist in farm activities. So here, um, they engaged their students to what is flexible. Kumbaga, kung ano yung um, nakikita nung bata sa environment niya, yun yung mga ginagamit nila para mas matandaan nila, para mas matuto sila. So next, here are the samples of subjects like arts, music, uh, um, in here we can see the what the teachers teach. First, like the first quarter, arts and crafts of the zone. So they teach their students the music of the zone. Second quarter, arts and crafts of Mimaropa and Visayas, and so on and so forth. So the examples in the context of IPED. So indigenization in the context of IPED specifically refers to the process of interfacing the national formal education curriculum and ALS curriculum with the indigenous knowledge and learning system. This process includes but is not limited to the following. First, planning for and developing a curriculum based on the directions set by the indigenous community, reflective of the interface between the community's IKPS and ILS with the national curriculum. So the indigenous communities may plan and develop their own curriculum featuring a curriculum framework and design that is in accordance with the community's perspective, like our worldview and life cycle without disregarding the content, learning standards, and competencies of the national curriculum. It highlights the worldview and perspective of the community in the enhancement of the framework and curriculum design of subjects, areas, and learning standards. So here we can see the subjects that uh being taught, example to kindergarten to grade 3. So here's a sample also of enhancement of curriculum design of a subject area for health subject for grade 9s. For grade 9, there, yeah. In here we can see the content or concept of community and environmental health, prevention and management of environmental health issues, collective action for environment. So the content standard, it demonstrates understanding of principles in protecting the environment for community wellness. The consistency demonstrates helpful practices to protect the environment for community wellness. So here are the learning competencies. It defines the community and environment health. It describes the health community, and it explains how a healthy environment is. It discusses the nature of environmental issues, the effects of environmental issues on people's health, the ways to prevent and manage environmental health issues, and participates in implementing an environmental project such as building and maintaining a school garden or conducting a war on waste campaign campaign that depends on its feasibility. You can also see here the other subject for grade 12 students, then introduction to philosophy of human persons there. Another is recognizing and including the community's context and values in the context and performance standards and competencies, and recognizing and maximizing the community's indigenous knowledge system and its elements as prior knowledge and context, which the subject area, learning strands, competencies, and content of the national curriculum can build upon. So indigenization by recognizing and maximizing the community's indigenous knowledge system as a prior knowledge and context which subject areas, competencies, and the content of the national curriculum can build upon. So next is the enhancing the national curriculum in relation to the community life cycle while recognizing appropriate scope and sequence of competencies. Next is interrelating the competencies specified in the national curriculum with community competencies in enhancing the curriculum and the teaching learning process. Next is integrative teaching of subjects towards 21st century skills so that they relate to indigenous knowledge system and its elements such as technologies, practices, and other relevant to the learner's culture rather. So in here we can see different subjects uh and their importance to their indigenous peoples communities. So in here, in this example, for example, grade 3, their second quarter. Lebek, a community activity in Besao, Mountain Province, serves as the integrating theme across the four subjects of English, science, math, and Filipino, thereby enhancing the learner's interrelated understanding and application of the competencies in relation to the community's way of life. So next is recognizing and including the community's teaching learning approaches and methods of assessment in the teaching learning process. So the indigenous communities have specific ways or processes of teaching dance that may be different from the way is different from other indigenous communities. How it is being taught are different. So the process of teaching the dance is inherent to learning the dance effectively. Thus, the teaching learning approach and methods as practiced in the community in teaching the dance should be adopted. Consequently, the community's process of learning assessment should also be used. So next is recognizing the community as a wider space, environment, and resource for learning. Next, involving culture bearers and integrated knowledge system holders are co-facilitators in the teaching learning process. So, um, the IKSP holders or culture bearers may be invited as resource persons and co-facilitators for the classes that will take up the community's practices in guiding their youth through adolescence and adulthood. Next is incorporating the community's narrative of local and national history and contemporary issues and concerns confronted by indigenous peoples. Next is designing the senior high school curriculum to be responsive and suited to the needs and concerns of the community. So that is their sample curriculum that the teachers follow in order for the students um, to learn and integrate their cultural history and in order for them to be more resourceful to what their um uh community uh to what is being served to them. So that's it, ma'am. Thank you po.